1. Spending for votes. The cash-strapped government's plans to boost its annual development spending by as much as 31% in the next financial year is meant to create good optics ahead of elections. It was expected, considering the enormous pressure the government finds itself under, owing to an economic slowdown and high inflation. In fact, some ministers had recently hinted at taking steps to provide relief to the public through an expansionary budget. However, success of the coalition government's strategy to spend its way out of the economic slump to increase the growth rate to 3.5% from the current year's 0.3% is uncertain at the moment. This is not the first time that a government is trying to increase growth to please voters by boosting development spending, and hitting the wall a few months later. But the space for the current rulers is even more limited. With its inability to manage the economy because of the cash crunch and uncertainties related to the IMF program and external account. Yet driven by its need to appease disillusioned and angry voters, it is setting a rather unrealistic development spending target in the budget that would have to be revised down later in the year due to potential fiscal constraints. Given our tight financial situation and successive governments' inability to raise the tax-to-GDP ratio of less than 10%, one of the lowest in the world, any excessive spending or the pursuit of a loose fiscal policy is ill-advised without implementing substantial tax collection measures. So far, the government has given no indication of its intentions to broaden the tax base to increase revenues, except the imposition of wealth tax on agricultural and other assets. Other tax measures, so far proposed by the Toller Committee, will only burden corporate taxpayers. With the tax revenue collection target for the next fiscal year likely to be set at Rs 99.2 TR or equal to 8.6% of GDP, few expect the government to be able to achieve it amid the unprecedented economic slowdown. Indeed, the coalition partners, especially the PMLN, have lost a lot of political capital over the last 1 year, and their leadership must be feeling a compulsion to foster productivity and put some money into the pockets of lower middle-income voters to woo them back. But it would be disastrous if it is done at the cost of fiscal discipline. 2. On schadenfreude. The shock abduction of a prominent rights activist and lawyer this past week seems to have jolted even the most jaded into waking up to the rapid erosion of civil liberties under this regime's quest to impose order. Gibran Nasir has often championed causes and fought cases few wish to touch. He had recently been rather outspoken while defending the rights of PTI's leaders and workers. Mr. Nasir has no affiliation with the PTI. In fact, PTI supporters routinely ridiculed and abused him in the past. He has also not been accused of participating in the violence that broke out on May 9. Nevertheless, he was forcefully picked up late Thursday while driving home with his wife. Was it a crime that he spoke out against the abuses being suffered by PTI workers at the hands of the state? The message sent by his abduction appears to suggest so. Thousands of ordinary Pakistani citizens are languishing in state custody today, many simply for the offense of being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Others have been targeted solely for their political sympathies. The detached commentariat has so far been dismissive of the treatment they have received, arguing, perhaps not too wrongly, that it is comeuppance for their party's past follies and transgressions. However, the present government and its supporters have pushed a far more malicious line. They have been pumping the airwaves with apologia for mass arrests, illegal detentions and even unlawful sentencing of people who are, ultimately, Pakistani citizens. While there is no question that the May 9th violence needs to be investigated and lawbreakers punished, all suspects are still entitled to due process and a fair trial. Voices like Mr. Nasir's should not be silenced for merely demanding that the state treat its citizens lawfully. As his illegal detention has made clear, the state's wrath needs to be checked diligently by the citizenry lest it grows beyond control.